Hello, my name is Bob. This is going to be the first in my series of tutorials on how to use Unix and Linux. First topic that we're going to cover today is how does one connect to a remote machine. Used to be in the way you had to do it in older distributions. You used to have to go to a command prompt or terminal and start beating away on the keys and start typing commands. Well, Linux has gotten a little more mature over the last few years, so there are easier solutions for everyone. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you today is how to connect to another Unix or a Linux machine via a graphical solution, which normally makes it far easier, so you don't have to remember a whole series of commands. So, we're going to use the built-in file manager in Ubuntu, and Ubuntu 12.04 is the Linux distribution that I'm currently using right now, and we're going to use the file manager that Ubuntu defaults with called Nautilus. And the way that you use it, you just come over to here and you bring up a Nautilus file manager window. What you can do is that you can then up here you can do a file, you come down here and connect to a server, and as you can see it'll bring up a dialog window. And since we're going to be connecting to another machine, we're going to use SSH. Now what you're going to have to do is that you're going to have to make sure that you have SSH installed on your Linux machine. And Ubuntu, it doesn't come by default, which it should, canonical. So you bring up a terminal window, and then to install SSH, you just simply come over to the terminal and type sudo apt-get install SSH. Do that and install, and then type your password, and you're ready to go. As you can see, I already have SSH installed, so I don't need to do that. But if you're on a new machine and you have to have SSH installed, just simply on Ubuntu or a Debian distribution, just simply do that. Another thing you're going to have to determine is the IP address of the computer you're going to wish to connect to. This tutorial is going to apply basically you want to connect to a machine on your own LAN. And if you have your machines hooked up to a router such as your router is going to assign IP addresses, or you're going to have you're going to create static IP addresses for each machine. Way to determine the IP address of a Unix or a Linux machine is you go to the same command prompt and you type ifconfig --a, hit enter, and then it will come over here. As you can see, inet address. The machine that I'm currently using is 192.168.1.197. On a Windows machine, if you want to make that determination, you type ipconfig /all. This tutorials will work on Unix and Linux machines, and also work on Macintoshes, because basically what are Macs today, they're basically Unix machines with a kind of a different looking GUI on the top. This should work on a Windows machine as long as you have an SSH client up and running. So without any further ado, let's get on to it. So basically we did our file up here and then connect to a server, and then we selected SSH. Go ahead and leave the port as the same. You want to put the IP address of the machine that you're currently trying to connect to, and I'm going to connect to my Mac downstairs. So I went ahead and went down and I determined the IP address that the router assigned to it. So we're going to then put in the IP address. Oh, sorry, we had a little error there. I think I fat fingered a key. So come over to here. So there's the IP address. Leave the port number the same. You come down here, put the username and password of the machine that you're wanting to connect to right now, and then go ahead, and it's a good idea to probably check mark that remember this password, because you're going to probably want to connect to these machines more than once. Otherwise, if you don't do that, and you're going to have to go through this whole setup again. So now that we've got all information, we basically just come right over here and hit the connect button. Now this is going to pop up because basically what it is, secure shell is just saying, hey, you're connecting this machine. You want to, it's going to say, are you absolutely sure it's safe to continue? So yeah, you're going to go ahead anyway. So you can say log in anyway. So then boom, now a new Nautilus has popped up, and as you can see by looking at this, you can see there's an applications folder and a library and a system and a volumes folder. As you can see that if you know anything about the Mac OS X file structure, that this is indeed a Mac. Now, one of the things you can do if you want to make sure that this change is permanent is you can see it's come down here and it's made a network connection, and it's connected to, as you can see, Bob at 182.168.1.144/user/Bob. So it's indeed connected to that. So Nautilus has the ability to make what is called quote-unquote bookmarks. As you can see up in here, I've got a few bookmarks already done. So if I come over to here and then I right mouse click on it and I go to add bookmark, now it'll appear up in here. Now right now that the name of it's going to use the name Bob because that was the username login, but you don't have to go ahead and use that. So you can right mouse click on there and go to rename, and you can call it whatever you want. Okay, you can see I'm kind of a nerd and I like Star Trek, so my Mac is called Kronos. So I hit that, and as you can see that I've now created a bookmark for that, and as long as I know that Kronos is my Mac, then I'm okay. So as you can see, if I go ahead and exit out of Nautilus, and then I bring Nautilus back up to here, and click on Kronos, he comes right back up. So I can then go ahead and browse through that machine and copy files of what I want. And I want to let you know that since you are connected in via SSH with your username and password, that you can delete files this way. So be absolutely positively sure that you wish to delete a file before you actually do that. Otherwise, you're probably not going to be able to get it back. So just make very, very sure. So as you can see, actually doing this was very easy. You didn't have to hit the command terminal a lot. I mean, I did show you a couple things, but as long as you know the IP address of the machine you're wanting to connect to, you can simply put this into Nautilus, and then you can access this machine whenever you want. So if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and post them in the links below on my YouTube channel, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.